This is Camping with Wade's RV on 1023 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Your RV guide for Oklahoma and beyond. Give us a call at 918-460-KRMG or text us at 95920. Now, let's hit the road.
Good afternoon and welcome to Camping with Wade's RV. It's 1023 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. I'm Skyler Cooper, joined by Willy D from Wade's RV. Willy, how you doing this afternoon?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's already started to be an incredible day out here. People have started to come out kind of early during the summers. A lot of times people come out earlier in the day versus later in the afternoon because obviously it gets a little bit warm, where it's about 90 degrees out here right now. And there's just lots of people coming out here taking a look at campers. There's 2 campers going out right now. There's a nice front living bighorn on the front demo pad right now. And then there's also an Evoque out by the shop plugged in, and some folks are going around getting their demo on that so they can learn exactly how to use that unit. And so today we're having a really exciting day out here at Wade's RV.
Taking your camping questions or anything you need to know about RVs. You're working on something or you want to buy one, you're looking around, text us at 95920. Willy D will have the answers for you. You can also call us 918-460-KRMG, 460-5764. Today we're going to get into a couple of the different products. You have some new things down there at Wade's RV, and we'll also give you a little bit of breaking news, some cool things with the state park system here in Oklahoma. We'd love to hear about your camping spots too, so if you have a place you want to share, you can text us that information too. It's 95920. Willy D, let's remind everybody how to find Wade's RV.
So there's lots of different ways that you can find us. I always love Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, so I always start out with that. If you love videos, you got to check out our videos. I have lots of how-to videos. My most recent one, I actually just went down to Austin, and so I talk a little bit about my journey and delivering that unit, and then I also have helpful tips. I have different videos on how to install, tongue jacks. Maybe you had a cracked water filter. I can show you how to replace the housing on that. A few things on how to set up and tear down your camper. Just some base knowledge. So if you're kind of looking at exploring the lifestyle, you can always get on there. And then if you're interested in purchasing an RV, learning more, or just, finding more about how much your RV's worth, you can do all of that on our great website. It's wadesrv.com. Go on there, check it out. One of my favorite tools that we just put on the website is our NADA tool. So many times people come on into the store and they just want to know what their RV's worth, because there's so many different variables out there when it comes to booking your RV. And we make it really, really simple. It's about 60 seconds. You put in some baseline information, and we're going to give you the ranges of what that RV's worth. And it's not a Willy D estimate. It's the NADA guide. So that's a third-party, unbiased source. That way you can see exactly what your trade's worth. And that way you're prepared whenever you're coming in. A lot of times people think, oh, my trade's only worth $3,000, and they find out that it's worth a lot more than that, and they can afford a lot more than they originally expected. So check out our website, give us a call, and come on out and see us at the store. We're located at 161st and Highway 75. That's our superstore location. And if you have any problems with your RV, you got to go see the girls out at 121st. Amanda, Jen, and Casey, they will take great care of you. And they have a big lift. So if you have any chassis work that you need done, they can lift that up. They actually just got back from Indiana doing their Spartan training. And we also have our paint and body shop over there. So we can handle anything RV related that you're needing done. And just come on out, check us out, or give us a call, 918-291-1011.
And speaking of trades, it's been a little bit since we've mentioned the fact that you guys take kind of pretty much anything for trades. So if you've got a lawnmower or a horse, you'll take it.
Oh, yeah, we absolutely will take lawnmowers, and we definitely will take horses. I just bought my first house, Skyler, and so I actually am needing a horse, and I actually need a lawnmower, so it's perfect. Bring them on up here, and we will trade you out of that, and that way I can take it on up to my house, and we'll get you swapped out and get you into an RV. And we definitely do take a lot of different odd and obscure things. Many times people think, oh, you're an RV dealership. RVs are the only thing that you take. That is absolutely not the case. If you have an old truck sitting around that you're just not using, bring it on in. We'll trade for that. Say you got a boat sitting in front of your yard that you haven't taken out to the lake in 2 or 3 years. Come on in, swap it out for something that you can use every single weekend. There's no need to have that sitting around in your yard. And one of my favorite trades are jet skis. So if you got some jet skis, bring them on up here and we will swap you out of it. I haven't seen the guy say no yet. So if it has value, I'm sure we can make a deal for you. So bring those trades up here. We love to make deals here at Wade's RV, and it's a great day to start turning miles into memories with your family.
We've got some new more news from the state this week about some of the way they're modernizing Oklahoma. Last week we talked about the new app where you can book a state park from anywhere and pay in advance and have everything ready to go. Now they're making another adjustment, and this is going to be helpful for the state because we've talked on this show a lot about the state parks and how some of them are maybe a little lacking in maintenance and some that just need a little love, a little elbow grease, and they're going to find a new way to help with that because they need funding, and a lot of times, I haven't been to many of the Oklahoma state parks, Willie D. I know you've been to a lot of them, but the ones I go to, it's a box nailed to a tree or some kind of fence post, and it's like the honor system where you pay your few bucks to get in, but they're changing that.
Back in the past, that's exactly how it was, and I'm so happy that we have we're starting to change all of that. So now we have those apps, and so you can actually book campsites online. I walked a couple different customers who were picking up their units this week. They're wondering about, hey, where should I go camping? And so we went back to my office. I have a nice lawn chair, so you can always come down there and sit down. I don't have the formal chair, so if you come to my office, it's a little bit casual back there, you might say. So we have my folding chair, and then we pulled up the Travel OK website. I went through, and I was able to show the customer exactly how to book his campsite. We did it right there. So it was, just another part of learning how to RV. And so we went through that, and just when you think it can't get any better, it does. And so like you were talking about, many of the facilities and the actual technology in the state parks has been very out of date for a very long time. And they're starting to change that with the new apps and the new technologies. And now one thing that they rolled out was actually the parking passes. So whenever you're going out to the state park, you're going to want to get a parking pass, and that's going to be your pass for the day. And those funds, that's not just going to someone's pocket to make them wealthy and have a great day. No, that's going right back into the state of Oklahoma itself and going back to the parks to make them more beautiful, get more staffing and better equipment, and just make it a better experience overall. And the more equipment and the more technology that we can bring into the state parks, the more tourism we're going to have come from outside of the state and just make us better as a whole. So it's really exciting. And with those passes, there's tons of discounts. So get on Google about the Oklahoma State Park passes, and you'll find if you qualify for some of the discounts, veterans, disabled people. There's also senior discounts. There's children's discounts. There's discounts if you're bringing a Oklahoma license plate versus an out-of-state license plate. There's all sorts of different advantages that you can have whenever you're getting these park passes, and it's really great. I'm super happy. It's going to take care of the state, and the best part is it's easy to use. So many times whenever I'm looking for a pass or maybe a concert ticket, do you either print it out online? Do you have to text into a company? What do you have to do to receive this? And the state of Oklahoma has made it super simple. So you can text, I think it's camping to a certain number, or it's parking pass. You'll have to look up exactly what it is to a certain number, and that will give you your parking pass for the day. Or you can also get it on the app as well. So use that Oklahoma State Park app. It makes it super simple. You can do it online. So before you even, a lot of times whenever I'm planning my camping trip, it's in the office. So I like to get all my camping passes. You can get your parking passes, all of that at once. Or you can do it the old fashioned way and do it at the park, which is sometimes fun because you can go into the park office and learn, hey, if you like camping, or not camping, obviously, but if you're going hiking, you can go out and ask, hey, what hiking trail do you recommend? And really get to know the park rangers and get some really great recommendations.
Yeah, so when you go at the park and pay, you can do it with a card. They're putting machines out. You can also do cash, but it won't give you change. So if you're going to make a little tip, just be aware of that. And then it is really cool how easy it can be. And it does, like you said, go toward helping the park. One of the other things that's really cool is if you have a place that you go regularly, if you have like every other weekend, you've got your spot, you can buy it by a couple of weeks or maybe even the year.
Yes, so it makes it super great. So it doesn't matter how often you go out, or let's say you're just wanting to go out and see what it is, and let's say you don't like it whatsoever. Well, you're not going to be bound down by a contract or anything like that. So you can get the pass that works for you. It's kind of like hunting. If you're not going to go get 3 deers for your family, you don't need to get 3 deer tags. So very similar to that process, and it makes it super simple for you and your family to get out there and enjoy the state park. So many of my friends are getting out there and enjoying it and just seeing all the things that it has to offer. And I'm a big history buff, so I love learning about the history of the state parks themselves. I was telling someone about Robbers Cave State Park. It's one of my favorite places, and so you can go out there and you can see where the outlaws like Jesse James and Belle Starr were up in the hills hiding out from the law whenever they were running around in the Wild West. And you can learn about different stories and different pieces of Oklahoma history that you hear about it, but actually getting to see and touch and feel, it's totally different, and I love it. So if you haven't been out there, you got to go check out some of these parks.
Time to take a break. You're listening to Camping with Wade's RV on KRMG. I'm Skyler Cooper with Willie D. Text us at 95920 with your questions. On the other side of this break, we're going to tell you about some of the new products down at Wade's RV, some of the cool things you can go check out. And
Saturday at noon on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Text your questions to 95920 or give us a call at 918-460-KRMG.
Welcome back. Camping with Wade's RV on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. This is Skyler Cooper, joined by Willy D from Wade's RV. Willy D, we've told people in the last several weeks about some of the cool things that you guys are doing down there, including I know you're building a lot of new stuff and kind of expanding out there. How's that going?
So we did break ground on another new project. And if you've been around the Wade's RV family very long and you're familiar with us, you know this is not anything new. We cannot stop building. It's a great problem to have is we just keep expanding on and on and on. And it's become a point where we're actually sharing offices with a couple different people. So we have been forced to go ahead and build on to our office section that we have at the Superstore. And so what was really cool is we talked about how Wade's always out there and he's always working out in the shop. Well, he's also out there working on his own construction as well. So Wade pulled out some of his equipment and so we broke ground and we've just started on it. So we haven't made a ton of progress. It's just been the last couple of days. So we've been taking out some of the old asphalt. And whenever we're, doing different projects, we do a lot of it in-house here at Wade's RV. That's what we like to do because we do it right and we do it quickly. So I went up to Wade and said, hey, are we just doing some maintenance over here? Are we doing some repairs? What are we doing? He said, no, we are expanding. And so it was really, really exciting. And there's a reason why we're expanding. It's not just because we're moving a lot of RVs out here. It's because we have a different philosophy. Whenever you buy an RV out here at Wade's RV or you're coming in for service, you're part of the Wade's RV family. And I was reminded of it by a very good example this week alone. So I had a customer who called me and I was told that, hey, they only wanted to talk to either me or Wade. And, that's not uncommon because you want to talk to who you know and who you're familiar with. And so I gave him a call back. And unfortunately, these folks were in it was an unfortunate accident and it totaled out their motorhome. And they were just, what do we need to do? And I've been in an accident myself and I understand the confusion and just all the worry and everything that can come to you at once. And we were able to get them taken care of. They were up in Springfield, Missouri. So that's a little bit of a distance. That's a few hours away. It's not just a quick tow down the road. And so we told them, get it back to Wade's RV so we can take care of you guys. We got that unit here. And, it was in a lot of damage. You might wonder, hey, why was it so important to get back to Wade's RV? I don't know if you've dealt with insurance companies very often, Skyler, but they can sometimes be frustrating and it can sometimes be complicated. And so we wanted them to be over here so me and Wade can personally take care of them. They are our customers. And so I was, I didn't know if they had a ride up from, they obviously, their tow vehicle and their RV was messed up. I didn't know how they were getting home. And so I asked them, hey, do you have a ride home? Because if not, guess what? I'm jumping in the car and I'm going to come get you, whether you like it or not. So they did have a friend that was coming to get them. And, they were super thankful that Wade's RV was willing to go the extra mile. That's something we talk about all the time because Wade's RV is willing to go the extra mile for our customers. And that's the big difference. Every day I hear customers coming in and I ask them, why did you choose Wade's RV versus the other place? There's a lot of RVs out there and we do carry the best brand, but what was it? And 9 times out of 10, it's the customer service and the experience they felt from the moment they walked in the door. So we have a different philosophy, and you just got to come on out here to Wade's RV to see the difference today.
It's Camping with Wade's RV on KRMG. I'm Skyler Cooper with Willy D. And you have some new Class A's and new Class C's, right?
Oh, we absolutely do. So that's another reason why we are expanding is because we have the quality products. Whenever you come to our shop, we have the quality tools and we have the master technicians. And whenever we're talking about new products, I was in a great training seminar. And so I go to all the product seminars because for one, I'm an RV nerd. So I want to learn about all the different new technology and all the new improvements and the history and everything about the RVs that we have. And so I was in the Newmar training and the rep, he was clicking through the slides and I saw a slide that looked a little curious. It said Mountain Air. And if you're familiar with the Newmar line, that we carry up to the Dutch Star, and then the next line up from that is going to be the Mountain Air. And I got the breaking news that we are an official dealer for the Mountain Air. So if someone's looking for that style of RV, that's into the luxury category of those Newmars. They are so luxurious from the top to the bottom, but these just get so fancy and they're just incredible. If you are able to afford one, you got to get in one and you got to try it out. One of the great features I was highly impressed with was the new ceiling. A lot of times in RVs, they have these really ornate and decorative ceilings up above you. And this one has LEDs that are actually integrated into the ceiling itself. And so it's flush all the way across, but it kind of was almost space age. And I'm just really excited about having this product. It's got a great engine, great transmission. It's got that great Newmar name. If you don't know about Newmar, let me just go ahead and break it down to you. They know how to build an RV. They were the first ones to ever come out with the slide out, and they're still using that technology to this day, and they're still bringing all that innovation to the table. And that's just one of the many great products that we're going to be able to have here at Wade's RV.
Willie D, I think I'm looking at a picture of what you're talking about. I always like to Google these things as you talk about them, so I'm looking at the Newmar Mountain Air, and the ceiling is so intricate. It not only has like the flush mount sort of canister-looking lights, but there's also crisscrossing. Are those strips of LED, or is that just
Yes.
white?
Yeah, that's exactly what that is. So those are all LED lights. And so the Mountain Air just really takes it to the next level. Whenever you look at that cabinetry and that carpentry, it is just awesome. It's actually handmade by Amish people. And it's not necessarily just that they're Amish. You know, we're always hearing about Amish crafted furniture and, you know, the work ethic and this, that, and the other. But the important thing at Newmar is how long these employees have been doing this same job. So you've been doing the radio for a little bit. I've been doing it for a little bit, but we have not been doing it nearly as long as our predecessors. And so the guys over at Newmar, the average tenure on those folks is 8 years long. So the average employee has been there for 8 years. It's pretty hard to imagine. And so usually companies have a really bad problem with turnaround, and that's not the case at Newmar. So whenever you look at a Newmar product, the man that built your cabinet and built your countertop, for one, it wasn't a machine. It was handmade. But that gentleman has been doing it for 40 years. And so they just take it to the whole new level. Another thing that I thought was super interesting whenever I was in the Newmar training is how they actually develop their floor. So many times when RV manufacturers are building a floor, they put a couple different sheets of plywood or OSB board, and they just stack it together in a straight line. That's not the case with Newmar. They actually cut it in a S shape. And so whenever you put those pieces of wood together, it actually locks into place. So then whenever you're going down the road, that coach is going to be more solid. You're not going to have as much movement, which is going to translate to less maintenance and just a better experience overall.
Hey, you know, just a couple of minutes ago, we were telling everyone about the new State Parks app and the parking pass and all the cool changes that are happening at the state level when it comes to ways to go camping. And man, that stuff's really going to make a difference for people like me and you who will love to go out there and have it kind of prearranged and do it over the phone, like on your smartphone, and make it easy. We were talking about that a little earlier, and if you missed the backstory on some of that, we want you to go back and check out our podcast on the KRMG app, because the last 2 weeks we've been talking about some of these changes, and then earlier today as well. But Willie D just got a tweet from Lieutenant Governor Matt Pinnell moments ago thanking you. It says, thanks Wade's RV and KRMG for the shout-out about the new Oklahoma Parks app and parking pass, making our parks and RV spots #top 10.
That is awesome. Well, thank you for tuning in and being part of Camping with Wade's RV. I love all the new improvements, and it just has made everyone's life a little bit better. I love Oklahoma, and so I just love to hear that it is improving, and I love to hear people coming from out of the state so they can see what this state is all about. That is just super cool. So thank you for tuning in, and thank you for everyone for tuning in. I love to hear back from people that have listened to the show. Whenever they come into the store, they talk to me about what they've chosen. They talk to me about different episodes or where they've gone camping, and that's just what makes it so cool is the RV world and the camping world is a community. So come on out and see us today. We'll have a great time, and we'll make some good memories together.
All right, we'll take a break. It's Camping with Wade's RV on 102.3 KRMG. We'll be right back after the news.
This is Camping with Wade's RV on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Join the show by calling 918-460-KRMG or text us at 95920.
Welcome back to Camping with Wade's RV on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. My name is Skyler Cooper, joined by Willie D down at Wade's RV as we continue to be separated and do the show remotely. One day we'll be back together again. And you can actually see what that looks like because you had a lot of YouTube videos up of us doing the show back in the studio. It almost seems like it'd be watching history at this point. It's been so long. But, we're doing okay as we are. And you actually get to do the show from, sitting in some of these RVs and things. Do you still have Kenny Rogers' bus?
I do still have Kenny Rogers' bus. Right whenever I get done with the show, I have a tour scheduled with Juan Carlos. So he's coming on out here, and I'm going to show him all through the Kenny Rogers bus. He's a big Kenny Rogers fan, so I think he's going to have a big smile on his face the whole time. And I'm just really excited to show him that. And so if you're interested, or you're just, a big Kenny Rogers fan, come on out here to Wade's RV. We have the best of the best units. So come on out here, take a look at that. And on YouTube, I have the video of the Kenny Rogers bus. So if you want to watch what that looks like from the comfort of your home, you can absolutely do that as well. And I second that. It's going to be great whenever we get back to the studio. It does seem like ancient history. I miss going in there and seeing Uncle Larry, checking in at the security desk and all that sort of stuff. But one day we will be back at it again, and I'm really looking forward to that day.
Hey, we were talking about that Newmar that you guys are going to start the Mountain Air, which is really stinking cool. I was just looking at the pictures, and I love that thing. Every time you update something, you get a new one. I Google it, and then I'm like, okay, it's making my list of the top ones. I remember, of course, the Evoque was my first that you've decided to show me, and I love that because of the modern features. And then there was the, oh my goodness, the one that we had, and then we had the rep in the studio.
Oh, yes, the Riverstones. Yeah, we had Rocky from Riverstone. Yes, those are great. Those are the top-of-the-line fifth wheels. They're beautiful. They have super great construction. And, I mean, who can't like Rocky? He's a great guy, and he has a ton of product knowledge. He's been with the company since the first day they opened. I have been with the company since the first day they opened, which is pretty cool. So I have a really great knowledge of it, and I've loved to see how far that product has come. Whenever it first came out, it was the best of the best, and you just think it can't get any better, and then it does. Last year, they came out with what I'm going to call or term the floating steps. So they came out with the solid steps, but you had to pick them off the ground, and you had to put them inside the door. Now they have a hydraulic assistant on there, kind of like whenever you lift up a gate on a Tahoe or a minivan or something of that nature, and so it makes it super simple. Whenever you're lifting up those steps, it takes almost no effort. I always say use 2 fingers, so kind of the 2-finger test, and you can lift it right up in there. Those are incredible fifth wheels and just one great part of the many great products that we have here at Wade's RV.
So on the Newmar that you were talking about, you say it's available in gas and diesel pusher as you call them. Tell us the difference, obviously one fuel versus another, but the reason you would want one over the other when you're looking at a motorhome.
So whenever you're looking at motorhomes, there's lots of different classifications. I use the example of a good old Ford F-150 many different times. There's different reasons why you might want a gas versus a diesel. Newmar makes a full line. So if you're looking for a gas rig, Newmar's got it. If you're looking for a diesel rig, they got it. But whenever you're talking about your gas rigs or you're talking about your diesel rigs, it's very much going to be like the Ford F-150 whenever it comes to amenities. Many times you'll have a diesel engine, you'll have air ride suspension, and you're going to have a different interior. And many times throughout the levels of Newmar, I mean, you can go up to $1 million with those guys. So not necessarily on everyone's budget list, but it just depends on how decked out and how styled out you want it to be. So whenever you go over to your gas rigs, it's the same sort of deal. You can get the XLT version, you can get the Lariat version, or you can get the nice and big King Ranch. But we have all of those different products here at Wade's RV. That's one thing I love is we have the full line. So if you're looking for an A, B, C, you're looking for a travel trailer, fifth wheel motorhome, we got it all over here. And so there's many different things. Whenever you're looking at a diesel, typically you're looking for those longer trips if you're pulling something behind you, because that way that engine is going to have just a little bit more power. Whenever you're talking about, going on talking about a semi truck, there's no gas semi trucks out there. And the reason why is because it's got really big torque, and it's also got really a lot of power on there to pull those big loads. And so let's say you were just going out and you weren't pulling anything. Well, you might not necessarily need a diesel rig. You could get away with one of those gas rigs if you're going to the lake, or really just going across the country every once in a while and you're not having a lot of weight behind you. So it really depends on what you're doing and what kind of camping experience you're trying to have. And we can help you out with all of that. If you have an idea and you have a budget, come on out and we'll match you up with the RV. We're kind of the matchmakers of RVs. It's quite a bit of fun, and I have a good time with it every day myself. So come on out here and ask us questions, because that's why we're here. It's because we camp and we're here to help you get the right unit.
I see now I skipped ahead a little bit talking about that Riverstone, but tell us too about the Class C Integra that you guys are talking about.
So, yeah, we had a really exciting week out here at Wade's RV, and I actually got to loan out the Super C that we have. So if you saw the Integra going down the road this week with the big Wade's RV right across the front, and then on the side of it, I got a really cool sticker as well that says Wade's RV, turning miles into memories, because that's what we do here. And so we got to loan that out to news reporter and sportcaster John Holcomb. And so he came out here and he got to use that, and he went down Route 66 and got to explore a lot of the different sites and scenes along Route 66. And he was sending me pictures and tell me about the experience itself. And he just was amazed by all the technology and things that this RV had to offer. I love the Integra Accolade myself. It's one of my favorite units because it's got that great Freightliner front end on it. So you got all the power, you got all the muscle, and it looks cool. I mean, who doesn't like looking cool? This thing has a great graphics package on it, and then it's super quiet on the interior. Integra boasts having the quietest coach on the road. And then when it comes to technology, it gets even better. You can control this whole entire rig off your cell phone. So I told them, download this app, type in this code, and then you can sit on your phone, sit outside, say you're getting ready to go back out to the camper. You went and took a snack. You stopped at Walmart, got some supplies. You can turn on your generator so that AC starts coming on. You can run those slide outs in. You can run them out. You can even do the auto leveling. So if you want a unit that you just have to use a push of a button, we got them here. So come on out and see us today.
And we're going to get up on a break here in just a couple of minutes. We have a few minutes left here, but we are going to talk a little bit more later, so make sure you're sticking around about us finding some new spots and different ways to test out an RV when you're going to look at them. Willy D, what about some of your fifth wheels?
So we have lots of great fifth wheels. We talked about that Riverstone. That is our top of the line. I also was talking to one of my customers this week about Bighorn. Bighorn is a great unit. Let's say you're looking for a full-time rig. You want it to have all the equipment with the hydraulics. You want it to have, the big residential fridges. You want it to have the nice furniture, because not all furniture is the same in RVs, folks. You got to take a look at that. The Bighorn is a great option for you. They warranty this for full-time living. That means you can go up to the service desk and tell them, hey, guess what? I'm staying in this thing full-time, and they're not going to deny your claim. So Bighorn is a great unit if you're looking for a full-time rig as well. We also have Sabre. That's a great unit, too, as well. It's a little bit lighter weight, but they have all the technology. They have the auto leveling. It's not hydraulic, it's electric, but it still is the auto leveling. So you can click a push of a button. If you're going out on the weekends, this is a really great rig. If you're using it every single day of the week, you might want to go ahead and bump up to the Bighorn. So you have a couple of the other amenities. But in the Sabre, you got the solid surface countertops. One thing I loved is it actually has a battery meter. So it'll tell you how many volts you have on your battery right when you walk in the door. And just like that Accolade, guess what? You don't have to buy a $200,000 RV to be able to have these great features of being able to operate the RV off of an app and off of your phone at the easy fingertips of your, on your fingertips. But you can actually get on there and you can use the apps with the Sabre as well. So it makes it super handy and super easy. And my favorite part, it's convenient. Whenever you're going out in your RV and you're not wanting to have to work, you want to get out there and you want to relax and have a good time. And this makes it easy for you to do that.
All right, let's take a break. You're listening to Camping with Wade's RV on KRMG. I'm Skyler Cooper with Willy D. You can text your questions to 95920 or just join the conversation, 918-460-KRMG, 460-5764. We're going to take our final break. We'll be back for one more segment. We'll tell you about finding some new camping spots, some cool places you could go if you're looking for somewhere to be.
You're listening to Camping with Wade's RV on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's news and talk. Get your questions in now. Call 918-460-KRMG or send a text to 95920.
Welcome back. It's Camping with Wade's RV, 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's news and talk. Skyler Cooper and Willy D here for your camping guide to Oklahoma and beyond every Saturday from noon till 1. You can text us at 95920 or give us a call at 918-460-KRMG, 460-5764. Willy D, we've had a lot of information today, and starting out with the things that really people need to know, and it's launched, it launches Monday, that new parking pass system that we were talking about for the state parks. You can pay in advance on your way out there before you leave the house, or when you get there, you can do it the old-fashioned way with a machine that's going to be on site. 22 of the Oklahoma state parks are going to have it. And I'm sure eventually, Willy D, they'll be rolling that out everywhere. But it really just makes things more convenient. And this goes right along with what we've talked about before, the new park app, travelok.com, and the state really modernizing the ways to go out and see the state. In fact, we talked a few weeks ago about breaking records in April. More people went to Oklahoma state parks in April this year than in any other month ever in state history. So it's what people are doing.
It's what people are doing, and it's what people love, and the increase just keeps on going. So if it tells you anything, if you haven't been out there, people obviously are liking it. They're telling their friends, and there's more and more people going out there. So you got to get out there and see it today. One thing that has been happening is the campsites are booking up very quickly. So I was looking for a couple new camping spots for some of the customers that were coming through this week. It's one of my favorite things to do. If you have a rig, see exactly where you can park it, that it's going to be easy to get in and out of, and then make it convenient for you, where you're going to be around hobbies and things that you enjoy. So a lot of times, in the winter, obviously, you're not going out to the lakes as much as you might be in the summertime. So I can help them find those sort of things. And I was looking around and I found some really cool things. So one place I want to go is actually Lake Murray State Park. It's a really, really crystal blue lake. And so in Oklahoma, a lot of the times we have just our normal lakes. Over there at Keystone, it's kind of got that dirt bottom, so it's a little dirtier. This is like just the ocean water. I mean, it's incredible. And the reason why is because it's spring fed. And so that's what makes it so clear. And it's only about 3 hours away from Tulsa. I Googled it from Wade's RV this morning. And so it's really not that far, just a little bit further than OKC. And one actually really cool fact about it is it's one of the original 7 Oklahoma state parks. And so if you don't know about the original 7 Oklahoma state parks, you have got to go look it up. I'm not going to tell you all the secrets. And as you're Googling it, you look up Lake Murray. One thing that you're going to see in almost every picture is the cool nature center. And so that Tucker Tower, it actually looks like a castle. It's really, really neat. And you'll find different structures and things like that through the original state parks. Because guess what? they're older and they've been around a little bit. So they have some of those cooler buildings that you can really see, and you can learn about nature. That's what that building is actually used for, is it's the nature center. So you can go in there and you can learn about the nature, the wildlife, and different things that are in that area. Because if you're going over there to Lake Murray, it's going to be a little bit different than if you go all the way over to the eastern part of the state as well. So you can learn about what's going on in Oklahoma, because there is so many different, diverse, and different places in Oklahoma that you can see. You almost can see a little bit of it all here in the great state of Oklahoma.
Willie D, let's go to the phones, 918-460-KRMG, 460-5764. We have a caller on the line. Hey, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Mike, I'm from Tahlequah.
Mike from Tahlequah, what's your question for Willie D?
I have I have an RV. It's a 2019. It's a Cardinal, and it's got a crack in the fiberglass on the outside, and I had some people tell me it was a structural a stress fracture, and others tell me no, it's just cosmetics. It's just there was a chip or something when they screwed the roof and the wall together, or screwed the roof on. They said there was a screw there. The manufacturer said that there was a screw there, and it caused a chip. And then because I was up north and it got really, really cold up there, and but they said that's what caused it, and the temperature changes just kept causing the crack to increase in length, and I just want it fixed. I mean, but I'd like to know I'd like to know definitively if it's a stress fracture, or if it's just what they said was a chip.
So with that, it really kind of depends on where that actual chip / crack is. Many times in RVs, you will see a stress crack right underneath the slide out, in between where the slide out box is and the actual frame rail, like on your fifth wheel where it kind of hooks over your truck. A lot of times you will see stress cracks right there, and it is a default in the actual manufacturing process many different times. But the good news is that it can be repaired. I'm not going to say it is a defect because I haven't actually seen it in person, but a lot of times whenever you do have that pressure on there and you are going through different temperature changes, it can cause these materials to not adapt as quickly as other things. And so very possibly they could be correct on that, but just without seeing it, I don't want to necessarily throw anyone into the fire. But the great news is we can get you taken care of here at Wade's RV. We do fiberglass repair, and we do bodywork repair as well. So we can take care of that and make sure you have everything taken care of, and make sure you get your camper back to the way it was right when you took it off the lot originally.
I think we lost Mike right in the middle of that there. But check out Wade's RV, 918-291-1011, and they'll get you set up. We just have a minute or two left here, Willie D. Let's tell people very quickly about those tips you have for coming out, things to check for when you're looking for an RV.
So whenever you're looking at an RV, I got a couple quick tips, and this was actually inspired by my good friend Carlos. We were sitting around the dinner table last night. We were having some great barbecue ribs. It's become one of my new favorite foods. And he was talking to me about how one of his friends went out and bought an RV, and they didn't necessarily look at these things. And he noticed right away, and you know why he noticed? He'd been out camping, and he's seen these things firsthand. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you these tips so you can see it. You don't have to be a pro camper, but you can be a pro RV looker. And so whenever you go out there, you will be prepared. The first thing I would recommend is lay on the bed. What we were talking about in this situation is his particular friend got a Murphy bed. And so that folds down from the nose of the actual camper. Usually it is in multiple different pieces. And so that causes it not to be as comfortable. So lay on that bed and see if it's going to be comfortable, because if you're not comfortable, right when you lay on it, you're probably not going to be comfortable when you're out at your great camping spot trying to relax and enjoy yourself. So take a look at that. Next tip is going to be sit on the toilet. So always make sure you sit on the toilet and try to shut the door to the bathroom. A lot of times that you will not be able to do that. And I've heard many, many times people come back and they go, why didn't I do that? And I go, I don't know. I would have told you to do it. And then also another thing is step inside the shower. Whenever we're talking about the bathroom, step inside the shower and see what it feels like. Not all showers and bathrooms in RVs are created equal. Whenever you go into a house, hey, there's a shower. They're pretty much standard all the way across. Not the case in RVs. So always do that. Also, if you have one AC, test it. Make sure it suits your needs. You don't necessarily need to upgrade to a second AC. It is convenient, but it also costs money and time and all this where you're not camping. So go on out there and take a look at that stuff, and you will be having a good time, and you're going to be camping the right way.
Out of time for today. It's Camping with Wade's RV on 102.3 KRMG. Check out Wade's RV, 918-291-1011 or 161st and Highway 75. This is 102.3 KRMG.